Welcome, everyone! Today we're analyzing a critical political speech in an article titled, "Biden Warns Oligarchy is Forming." In his farewell address, President Joe Biden expressed concerns about a growing oligarchy, a small group controlling extreme wealth and power, threatening American democracy. He also criticized misinformation and the declining free press, which he argues contribute to the weakening of democratic institutions. As Donald Trump prepares to take office again, Biden's final speech reflects both his accomplishments and the challenges ahead. Let's examine the broader implications of his warning. Before discussing Biden's concerns, let's step back and think about how wealth and power influence democracy. Many nations, past and present, have struggled with a concentration of power in the hands of a few. The challenge is to ensure that economic and political power remains balanced to protect democratic values. Our theme today is the relationship between democracy and wealth concentration. Throughout history, countries have seen shifts toward powerful elites controlling government policies. This concentration of wealth and power often leads to disproportionate influence over laws, media, and political decisions, which can create challenges for democratic systems. Think about this. What are the potential consequences when an oligarchy gains control of a country's government and resources? How might this affect democracy, ordinary citizens, and access to fair information? When a small group controls a nation's wealth and resources, democracy can weaken. Economic elites often have greater access to policymakers, shaping laws in their favor. This may lead to policies that widen wealth inequality and limit opportunities for lower-income citizens. Additionally, a powerful oligarchy can control media outlets, influencing public perception and spreading misinformation to maintain power. Historically, nations dominated by elite groups often see reduced government transparency and weakened democratic participation. To prevent this, countries must establish regulations that ensure fair political representation and media independence. Now, to understand this article better, we need to familiarize ourselves with key vocabulary. We'll define each word, look at it in context, and go over example sentences. Let's begin! Let's start with our first word, oligarchy. It is a system where a small group of people holds power, often due to wealth or influence. Biden warned that the U.S. is becoming an oligarchy, meaning that a few individuals could control political and economic decisions. Here's an example. Throughout history, many nations have struggled to prevent an oligarchy from taking control of their government. Next, we have bleak. It describes a situation that is discouraging, hopeless, or likely to have a bad outcome. Biden described the current situation as bleak, suggesting that democracy is at risk if nothing changes. Here's an example. The economic outlook was bleak after years of financial mismanagement. Finally, let's examine fair shot. This means having an equal opportunity to succeed without unfair advantages or disadvantages. In his speech, Biden argued that every citizen deserves a fair shot at economic and social success, regardless of background. Here's an example. She worked hard to ensure that all students had a fair shot at getting into top universities. Now that we've explored the main themes and vocabulary, let's reinforce our understanding with a summary dictation exercise. Listen carefully and fill in the blanks. In his final Oval Office speech, President Joe Biden warned that an oligarchy of extreme wealth and power is threatening American democracy. He criticized a growing tech-industrial complex for spreading misinformation and weakening the free press. Reflecting on his presidency, Biden highlighted achievements like COVID-19 recovery, infrastructure investment, and economic growth, but acknowledged his failure to heal national divisions. As Donald Trump prepares to return to power, Biden's legacy remains overshadowed by concerns about democratic backsliding and the reversal of his administration's policies. Let's take a look at the answer. The first answer is misinformation. This refers to false or misleading information that spreads unintentionally. The second answer is free press. This means news organizations that operate independently without government control. The third answer is acknowledged. This means to recognize or admit that something is true. The fourth answer is overshadowed. This means to make something seem less important or noticeable. The last answer is backsliding. This describes a decline or regression, particularly in democratic values or institutions. Great job today! We explored Biden's farewell speech, his warnings about oligarchy, and key vocabulary related to democracy. Now consider this question. Should technology be regulated to prevent oligarchies from forming? Why or why not? We'll discuss this in our next session. Until then, happy learning!